Ferrari have made some big changes recently to their Formula One team. The biggest change that has come out this week, Ferrari's head of concept, David Sanchez, reportedly quits. Not even the fact that, they've come to an agreement. We usually see this with Ferrari, right? It's like, oh, Matteo Binotto and the team have come to an agreement that maybe they shouldn't really work together anymore. And I think that's more Ferrari leading them away. This is Ferrari's head of concept quits and is set to move to McLaren. He is not happy with something going on in the team, and therefore he has decided to make that change for himself. Now, it's whether or not that is the instability or the change that is actually needed, right? Does this show that Ferrari are just in a position again where they're so unstable that they can't really understand what's happening with their car, and the people in and around it that feel like they're going to get the blame are just like, I'm going to jump ship before anything massively happens here? Or is it the other way around, where this is Vasseur coming in, the change that is needed within that Ferrari team that everybody's been talking about for recent years, right? The fact that they've had so many reliability issues, so many technical issues, so many strategy issues, so many behind the scenes issues, leading all the way back to the Sebastian Vettel days, you could argue, when Sebastian Vettel was supposed to be battling for championships. Is Vasseur finally going to be the one to come in? Let's kind of delve into it, right? So David Sanchez was the head of the vehicle concept, an incredibly respected member of the Ferrari team, in a similar vein to Matteo Binotto, I would say. David Sanchez been there for a very long time. I think he moved to Ferrari in 2012 from the McLaren team. So it's also interesting that he's going back to the team that he came from. He is now going to be on gardening leave. And there was quite a lot of talk around it where, when Charles Leclerc was told that David Sanchez was going to be leaving, he wasn't very happy about it. So I think that's the thing, right? The Ferrari team, this doesn't seem like something many people would have wanted to happen, but maybe Vasseur coming in, maybe this is the shakeup that Ferrari didn't want to happen, but need to happen. If you look at kind of Red Bull, Mercedes, you look at Christian Horner, Toto Wolff, it feels like they have been there forever, right? It just feels like they are part of Formula One now. And if you saw the Red Bull team without Christian Horner, well, literally it didn't exist before Christian Horner. So it'd be so incredibly strange to see anybody else in that position. I feel like it's kind of the same with Toto Wolff and Mercedes, right? They brought in Toto Wolff very early on, and Toto Wolff has kind of been, again, that figure. On top of Lewis Hamilton, I would say that if you ask anybody about Mercedes, the second person they will mention is Toto Wolff. Ferrari haven't really been able to get themselves in this position where they are comfortable with the team principle that they have and the direction that they seem to be going in. And I think it was very interesting, actually, that Vasseur, after the Bahrain Grand Prix, said that the new Ferrari car needed a full investigation into Leclerc's DNF in Bahrain. Like, he was very, very unhappy with how this had gone for the Ferrari team. And he said that he does want to find out what happened, why it happened, and where they can sort of find blame almost within the team, which is a very different aspect to what we've seen in Ferrari in the past. It's something that, if you told me that Matteo Binotto had said that, I just wouldn't believe you. Matteo Binotto last year, every single time there was a mistake or a problem or something went wrong for Ferrari, Matteo Binotto found excuses, where I think Vasseur is trying to find problems and get rid of them. It feels quite Arriva Bene, to be honest with you. It feels like Ferrari are flip-flopping between team principles that are too strict, too hard on the team, and maybe are a little bit too cutthroat, to too soft in Matteo Binotto, too lenient, too easygoing, too laid back. And there's maybe a middle ground that needs to be found here. Is Vasseur going to be that middle ground? From that first quote, I feel like he's definitely on the Arriva Bene side more so than the Binotto side of how he's going to act with the team behind the scenes. But at the same time, maybe he's not going to be so cutthroat and so dictatorly within that Ferrari team. It's going to be interesting to see which way he goes with it, right? But it's good to know that he's being proactive. It's good to know that he can combat some of these issues and that he's willing to kind of take the blame a little bit. Willing to be like, okay, we're going to find out what went wrong. We're going to work together as a team. If you don't want to be part of that, if you don't want to be held accountable for what you are doing within this Ferrari team, maybe this Ferrari team isn't for you. And I feel like that's where he's really come in. And maybe this is massive speculation from me, obviously, but maybe that's what David Sanchez didn't like. The fact that the team was going in this different direction. I know that David Sanchez was there under Arrivabene, but maybe he hated it under Arrivabene, right? Maybe he was just sticking around with Ferrari because he thought that maybe he could do something special with that Ferrari team. You know, Ferrari is an institution at this point. And actually, because he knew that Binotto was kind of going to come in, many people, especially towards the kind of last year of Arrivabene, knew that Binotto was going to kind of be that man, and maybe was that man behind the scenes more so because Binotto had a lot of infrastructure around him at Ferrari and also had a lot of help in building that Ferrari car, even when he wasn't specifically the team principal. So maybe, you know, David Sanchez was working with Binotto. Now that Binotto has gone, Vasseur has come in, he can kind of see the parallels that maybe this is going to be a little bit tougher than it was with Binotto. Maybe I'm going to be held accountable for more stuff. And maybe he didn't want that. Again, that's massive speculation for me. I don't know David Sanchez well. I don't know him personally. I don't know whether he'd absolutely love a team boss that is going to hold him accountable. You know, some people do and some people don't. Maybe David Sanchez isn't one of those characters. He needs that arm around the shoulder all of the time. He needs the help, the guidance, the, you know, positive reinforcement all of the time. And you're not going to get that with Vasseur. So change is definitely coming to Ferrari. Whether or not that change can be so dramatic enough to actually get the Ferrari team to where they want to be, we'll kind of have to wait and see. It's only one race into Vasseur. It's only, 2 months since he's joined the team. He joined the team in January. So he's still trying to find his feet a little bit within this Ferrari setup. It's going to be really tough for him because a lot of the people that have worked for Ferrari have been, first and foremost, Italian with the Italian team. You know, Arrivabene, Binotto, all of those guys before him were Italian. Coming in as a Frenchman into this Italian team, he's going to have to try something a little bit different. I know that he's worked in and around with Ferrari because of his links with Alfa Romeo and the engine supplier, and he obviously gets on incredibly well with Binotto. He talked to Binotto before the season had even started. He'd also talked to Gunther Steiner, who is also powered by Ferrari. But I think the fact that he is an outsider, he is somebody coming into the Ferrari team. He's not a Binotto that's worked there for 20 years. He's not an Arrivabene that had been in and around the company and worked with various people at Ferrari for those preceding years. He has come in. He is now the number one, and maybe he's a little bit cutthroat. And maybe he's going to actually finally make those changes. And if he's given the kind of go-ahead, especially by the guys above him, because I think that's the thing with Ferrari, right? It's always seen as, is it actually the team principal or is it a problem that is higher up? He needs that backing from the guys that are higher up to be able to be like, we're going to get rid of these people. We're going to completely just chuck away this and we're going to go for something else. And I feel like that's where Vasseur could really shine as a team principal.